Hello and welcome to part 8 of this project-based tutorial where we're making a mastermind game out of just simple HTML, simple CSS, nothing special, no Bootstrap, no Sass, just straight CSS, and JavaScript jQuery. There's no framework, there's no React or Angular. It's just JavaScript and jQuery, doing it like the Pilgrims did it, old-fashioned. And we got to the point where we can put all of these pegs into these holes, and it acts pretty much exactly like the way we found a bunch of bugs. We made it work. You were there with me, so you know what I'm talking about. There's a button that appears, and last episode we figured out what magic code this box is hiding. And it's hiding a code of numbers, and it's not really in there. It helps. I mean, the player is going. It helps to visualize it's in there because in the physical board game, there's a code under that box. But we don't have a physical board game. We have a virtual board game. So we need to compare this code of colors to this code of numbers. So we can either change these into colors, or the more sensible thing is to change these into numbers. So how do we do that? That's where we're at. We're going to make an array of numbers. And by the way, after we have this array of numbers and we compare it to this array of numbers, it's going to score us in some later session, maybe the very next one. And we're going to put black and white pegs here based on our score, our rating, our grade. I haven't decided what to call it, as you might be able to see. Okay. So, onward, making these equal numbers. Okay. Remember we talked about earlier, okay, I'll come back. This looks like a two-dimensional array, and this is 0, 0, this is 0, 1, this is 0, 2, and we even gave them those names for IDs. Let's make an array. Let's call this, what are we going to call this big 2D array? We're going to say let something, my guess array. Do we already have something called guess array? Do you know how to find out? Command F, GUESS array, 2 found. This one, this let means this thing only exists between this 4 and this thing. So if we reused it, that would be okay, but I don't want to reuse it. Escape, I know what I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it master guess array, because it's going to be a two-dimensional array that has all the guesses we've ever done. And I'm going to put it, I don't know why I have that space there. Did I just put these few spaces here because I was going to put it on top? It's going to take a few lines to say this. So I'm going to say let, you know what? I remember how I did this now. This for loop is sort of dangling here. It's not in a function or anything. It's because it's assigning something. So this is assigning something. So really this is all assigning stuff. So I'm going to do it right here. Let master guess array equal, and we want to make a two-dimensional array of all of that, and we want to initialize it. We're going to give everything a value of 0. Sounds like a lot of typing, but honestly, with the magic of cut and paste, it isn't. So it's going to be a JavaScript doesn't really do two-dimensional arrays like other places do. It does arrays of arrays. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And an array of array is the exact same thing. In this very last one, we don't want that comma. I don't know why these are white. And we're going to put this whole thing inside of an array. So we have this. Did I just do what I think I just did? I thought I did something. It looked like I did nothing. realized the first time I did the indent thing because I hit Command instead of Shift. I want to hit Shift. I don't want to hit Shift. That's why I put those squigglies in because I hit Shift. There. There. And honestly, to make this readable, we're going to, this is taking longer than making it. Giving each one of these things its own line. This isn't necessary. I'm kind of regretting it. Okay, so this is 0, 0, this is 0, 1. So this is kind of like an upside down table. So just keep that in mind. It might be a big deal later if you're picturing it. That this is the bottom piece. This piece right here, just to say it again, this piece right here, this first 0, goes down here. Okay, so it's almost like the board's flipped around or something like that. Okay. As we click those things, as we click the guesses, these need to change. That's what we're going to do. So that happens right here. So how do I get the array off of that? Well, the magical part is this, the ID of this has the array coordinates built into it. Okay, so that's what we're going to use. That's what we're going to use for our guesses. And also, we have to, in this else part, we have to set it back to 0 when we take something out. Holy cow. Okay. So what I think I want to do is have this call a function that does it for me, because this is going to get awfully cluttered. This if statement inside of an if statement, and this is an if statement inside of an if statement inside of an if statement inside of an if statement. It's getting cluttered. It's getting busy. So let's just do a function where we just say, what are we going to tell this function to do? Update. That's not how you spell update. Update master array. And you see these right here? You put something in there. You put a value in there. And that, because if you think, wow, you can just say update master array. No, this is another function like down here. Command C, I'm going to copy that. Remember down here we made this function? Well, now I'm going to make this function. Command V. And it's just saying basically jump down here and do this. But it says if you want to take any of this information from up here, dang it, what line was that? That's why I like to say the line number out loud. Line number 59. You're going to need some information, and what we are going to need is the coordinates of that array and the color. So we're going to send it the selected color, and we're going to send it the coordinates. Can we just send it this.attribute.id? Because remember, we want to send it the ID, and we want to set the attribute to the ID. So we're going to, let's just try, let's say let coordinate equal, I guess that's as much as I can copy, Command V, attr, which attribute do you want to send it? ID. And now this is just a string. It's sending it a string. So we're going to send it the cord. So we're calling it here. See how this is called selected color here, and this is called cord. Those names do not have to be what we have here. I could just say color, short for XY for my coordinate. Is that a smart thing to call it? I don't know. But in here, log tab color XY. So it's going to print the color and it's going to print the XY. When is it going to do that? It's going to do that because this happens sometimes. You do all this thinking and you realize you put it in the dumbest place. This is when I click the guest peg. Yeah, it's going to update this. And note to self, Command C. It is also going to do it when this happens. The selected color is going to be, it's not going to be the same things. So I'm just going to, this line is here because later I got to think about it, but I don't want to think about it now. All my thinking energy is going down to this. Okay. Reset. So this is the selected color, and this is exactly what I wanted. This is the selected color. Well, I wanted it to say red. It's being difficult in saying RG, whatever this. I told you what this is. This is the red glue green value where it has 255 parts red and 0 green and 0 blue. Okay. And then this G00, I got to take this 0 and this 0 out somehow. Something clever. And I have to turn that into the coordinates. So, all right, so there's things to deal with. This doesn't say red, it says this, and then we got to parse this. This function, we might have this function calling other functions. It gets so crazy. I'm drinking coffee. Okay, so ultimately, I want to push the color into the array with these coordinates. So I want to say the master guess array at coordinate x comma y. So the value at these coordinates, so they'd be like 0, 0 in this case. It'd be 0 is the x, the 0 is the y, equals, not the color would be that thing, but we would have we're gonna push in a function. We're gonna say make color a number. So let's say there's a function that says make color a number. We're going to pass it this color. Ooh. So, wow, we're going to have to make this function before this video is over. We're going to have to parse this xy. So I'm just going to comment this out. And putting a pin in this, we're coming back to it. I'm going to make this, make color this right here. I'm going to make it. Command C, tab, enter, function, Command V, and yeah, we are going to pass it a color. I'll just keep calling it color. Put it inside here. If so, the way we're saying this right here, master this is going to take whatever value this returns. So this itself isn't going to return anything, but this definitely has to return something. Okay, so just to, this is a 0, this red is a 0, this is a 1, this is a, so it's going to return red. Well, so this is going to be if, no, I already said the if the color equals what? Well, this is what it is. This is what red looks like. That's crazy. Then we're going to, you know how we can do the else's? Well, once you do a return, it breaks it. So I'm going to have a bunch of lines under this. I'll do this too. I'm going to have a bunch of lines under this. But once it returns it, it's never going to read those. It's going to leave this for good. It's going to return 0 to here. So it would push into the master guess array with these coordinates a 0, because 0 means red. Danger, Will Robinson, danger. The danger is we just made all of these things zeros. Why do we make them zeros? Why? Why did we make them zeros? We should make all of these negative ones. Does that look like a pain in the neck to change? Not really. I'm going to take that, Command C, highlight this, Command V. Otherwise, we just said everything's already red. It just initialized it to red. Negative 1's a much better color. Yeah, because we want it, remember between 0 and 5, there's always something between 0 and 5. We want to make this something that's not 0 and 5. So duh. But that wasn't a big deal. Copy and paste, it's magical. Return 0 if it is red, and this says it's red. Another little shortcut, if you're just doing one thing in an if statement, you actually don't need these. If you're doing two things in there, like we did up here, we did like 2 things in there, then you need it. But if you just need one, you don't. And honestly, you could put it just like that. So if the color equals red, return 0. Watch this. So we have 6 colors. That was the first one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's the next one. That's the next one. That's the next one. That's the next one. And that's the next one. So you're thinking, well, how do we know what these are? Well, I just have it programmed right now. When I click that, it shows up. 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 And the last feller. When I click that, it shows up. So these right here are the strings we want to put over to here. So let's just make some room. That was red. Command C. Command V. And honestly, I could just go like this. And in fact, this one's used. Command C. Command V. And this one is a 0. And this one is, this is Command V. Command V. And this one is, I'm just going to copy these. Come on, cooperate. Command C. Okay. So if the color equals, this is what red is, this is what green is, and whatever all these are, that's the color coordination. So that works out pretty well. That wasn't that big of a deal. I guess the big deal is going to be turning this XY thing, which isn't a great name. It has to, there's an X part and a Y part. So strings are different than arrays. We might have a string, if we just had G-0-1, we can say take the third thing, great, and take the fourth thing. Actually, no, this is the 0th, this is the first, this is the second. So take the second one, this is the third, and take the fourth one. Except for, this could be a 10, because there's 10 guesses. So if we take the second, it would just take the 1. So when it's a 10, that's not going to work. But what we can do is we can split this string apart, and we can into an array, and we can say split it apart based on, they say, what do you want to split it on? We can say split it every time you see a dash. So remember I told you I was clever. So this isn't really here. I'm just going to use it as a visual aid. Whoa, Command Z, Command that. Okay, it's a visual aid. So we'll just call it an array for now. equal, I want to show it to you, xy dot split, split it apart. So this is a pre-built-in function. Split it apart whenever you see that. And now I want to log xy. So this is called update master array is called, sometimes you make up something and it doesn't ever work because it's called when I click that. Okay. All right. I think we're ready. Refresh. I don't want to log this. I do want to log this. Okay. Command S to save it again. Refresh. G00. Wow. It's because I don't want to log XY. I want to log array. XY is the string. Array is this array made out of the string. So refresh. So, and the first thing is the G. We don't want the G. We want the second and the third one. Or actually, this is the 0th, and this is the 1th and the 2th. So, let's get rid of that. Remember right here I have them called X and Y. I'll say X equal array. It's the 1th thing. And let Y equal array at the 2th thing. And then this thing right here, first of all, I'm going to put that. This thing right here that I commented out, by the way, I can erase these, or if I hit Command / it uncomments it out. Let's make it a little wider so it all fits on one line. I would say, look what we just did, but we don't know what the array looks like, so let's have it print the entire array. Log this array. All right, refresh. So when I click this, we're going to see, remember, we're going to see it. It's just meant I'm killing you. We're going to see this value right here. It's going to print this array with this value as a 0. That's what we're predicting. Zero. I am so proud. I am so proud. Okay, that worked. So now we're updating the array. Maybe you're not impressed, and I would not at all blame you, because what are we going to do with that? This only matters when it's time to grade it. It's going to grab that thing. I'm going to get rid of that. So I want to leave you here wondering, okay, so now what? Update. Okay, we're leaving this here. If click count equals 4, where is my guess? Remember, we're incrementing the guess every time. The guess plus plus. So right here, I can log this anywhere, but I want to log it right here. Log tab. What did I call that? Master guess array. And I just want to log out a whole line. So remember, when this is 0, when that's 0, it's talking about this. It's talking about this here. Are you serious? Are you serious? I'm calling you back. That was my phone. They can leave a message. This is 0, 0 here, and in the array, it's this here. So it is going to print just this line of the array, the 0th line of the array. And that is going to happen when I click submit, which I can't hit until I have all 4 filled in. So it's going to give me a whole thing. So let me just look, make sure I don't have any console logs down there. I'm liking it. We're going to give it, so what should the values be? This is a 5, this is a 4, this is a 3, this is a 2. So we want it to say 5, 4, 3, 2, 5, 4, 3, 2. I am so proud. And now we're going to compare it with this answer. Hold on. On the next line, I'm going to log the answer. So when I hit refresh again, I'm going to hit, so this is 0, 1, 2, 3. We don't know what our answer is, but we will in a second. When I hit submit, uncaught answer is not defined. It's because it's called answer array. Now I have to redo all this. 0, 1, 2, 3, submit. So now we compare these, which is the grading logic. So just really quick, this is going on to the next lesson, but I just want to talk about it here because we have it right in front of us. This is what we have. So I guess 0. This 0 receives nothing for a grade. It has no corresponding 0 there. This 1, now if there was a 1 right here, this 1 would get a black. But there is a 1 in there, but it's in the different spots, so it gets a white. Same with the 2, same with the 3. So what this would get would be 3 whites, but you wouldn't know what they corresponded to. You wouldn't know if this was a white, this was a white, this was a white. You don't know which 3 got the whites. You just know that 3 of them are the right colors in the wrong place. That's for later. That's going to be some trickiness. It's a whiteboarding problem. But anyway, I'm pretty happy. We also have to figure out how to make once we grade it, we've got to figure out how to make that show up right here. That's probably two episodes down the road. So I'm going to stop talking now, say thank you and other stuff, like a lot, and I'm going to end this.